writing up the bullet point notes for our session today, I was very present to 88th Pearl of Wisdom is omnipresence. 8 is the number of infinity. And 88 is like, wow, double infinity. And it's omnipresent. I mean, there's another thing that's really significant, by the way, about today, which is in India, they celebrate today and tomorrow, and as well as in Bali, actually, there was Gudingan and Kudingan finished today. So you've been in Bali where they have all these, humongous processions and all that sort of stuff. So it's a particularly important day today, because today they have these, it's called Lohri in North India. And they have a bonfire, and it's particularly celebrated by women, and it marks the end of the cold, dark time of winter and an opening of blossoming of the spring. So omnipresence to blossoming, to have the most amazing illuminating blooms this year. So
amazing. It's always amazing to hear your perspective, and it's so needed. Here in LA, we're getting ready for big rain in California. So this idea of blossoming is very exciting.
Indeed, indeed. So let's dig right in to omnipresence. So omnipresence, I mean, this is something that I have been very connected with, and we all are, in a way. As I go through the expansions, it'll become even clearer to you. But I like the wording that came through as I even shared what we are going to be doing today. 7 expansions that unveil themselves when you grasp the potency in omnipresence. I just wanted for myself to look at, well, what do these words even mean? Omnipresence, if you were to just look at a pure dictionary definition of it, it's a state of being widespread or constantly encountered. Like it's just there all the time. And it's there everywhere. Wherever you look, it's there. An expansion in itself is an action of becoming larger and more extensive. So the state of being widespread and constantly, present, becoming larger and more extensive, combined with the word potency, which is really a power of something or someone to make an impression. And that's what we are talking about here today. The state of being widespread or constantly present, combined with the action of becoming larger or more extensive, having the power to make an impression, is the 88th Pearl of Wisdom, omnipresence. So when I say it's an important day today for us here in India, it is celebrated. In North India, it's celebrated with, it's marked by a bonfire, but it's very symbolic. And literally all the elements come together. Women gather around this, they sing songs, the air element is activated, blowing away the clutter, bringing focus. The fire destroys the past, transmutates it into a new state. There's water that is often sprinkled in ceremonies and any rituals, washing away the debris, bringing flow. And as the ash collapses down, it feeds the earth, puts a stake in the ground of this new state that has been now anchored. What is this state? This year, it is the year of illumination. And in this year of illumination, the state that we are anchoring is the state of that, like literally putting away the dingy, cold darkness of the past and anchoring a new blossoming, leading to absolutely illuminating blooms in every area of our life. And literally, may that be omnipresent, a state that is widespread and constantly present, becoming larger and more extensive, having the power to influence and make an impression on ourselves and through us, on whoever it is that we touch, move, inspire, directly or indirectly. So what are these 7 expansions that unveil themselves? The first one is oasis. Oasis, the expansion of oasis that provides a refuge, relief, or a pleasant contrast. So when you work with this expansion, like literally expecting an oasis, what it's doing is it's opening the doorway for you to know. It's opening and activating this knowingness within you that whatever occurs, there will always be something right there, present at the same time, that provides refuge, relief, or a pleasant contrast. It's only waiting for you to find it. It always coexists. Now, in this era where collaborative co-creation of coexistence is what is playing out, then if you can't find the oasis in whatever it is that you're experiencing, go find a collaborator. And that collaborator may be the universe. The collaborator may just be your higher self, or the collaborator may be the person next to you. The collaborator may even be Google or your photo library. This pearl of wisdom, when I engaged with this, really got me to realize that, I say everything is a vibration. It simply has to be. With the earth moving as fast as 7,000 kilometers an hour around the earth, everything has to be a vibration, including every leaf on this tree, the frame of the mirror behind me. Every little cell in there is vibrating as much as every cell in us is vibrating. We have an added presence of that spark of our soul presence. And we are vibrating just like all of these elements. So your collaborators really come in a whole variety of sizes and shapes, living and non-living. Anything, everything can be a collaborator, should you choose to look. Now, wherever you are never present alone. There is so much around you that is there with its arms stretched out, vibrationally, there to support you. It's up to you to just go reach out to it and find that oasis. Something that provides refuge, relief, or a pleasant contrast. Now, the interesting thing about the expansion of oasis is when something contrary to what you expect to happen happens, it's very easy to be impacted by that. I mean, we all would be. And it's very easy to allow that impact to become something which takes us into an implosive state. By knowing that oasis is right here, you immediately connect to that relief. Even this, just knowing, then you can go step and look for it. This is an amazing person that I came into contact with just, the last couple of weeks. And she's created something that I believe is going to have a measurable impact on almost every person on the planet. And she's just been on a go, 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 go space for the last so many years. And she had this story of, I'm not supported, I have to do everything myself. To such an extent that she's in the midst of this amazing creation of hers. People are coming in and they're like superlative feedback of the impact her work is having on them, like off the charts. And one of the women that's participating in what she's doing, shows up and asks to meet her. And she goes into this thing that, you've got these entities, and I engage in magical rituals that can get rid of these entities. And, this is what is going to happen if you love. It's like she just goes into this kind of conversation. And this woman who's going into not supported basically goes into, well, not only am I not supported, people are out to destroy what I've created. Now, this one woman versus 103 others who are like every single day, multiple times a day, sharing in very real terms the impact she's had on them. So what happened is this, so she goes into this space of, I'm not supported, I have to do everything myself. And my God, how am I going to manage when people are out, this kind of people are out to destroy me? And this woman who's talking to her says, don't ignore what I'm saying, because if you look away from what I'm saying, then I can do this and I can do that, like literally threatening her. She stood up and just walked over to me and like literally just burst, like a dam burst. She had just had it up to there. I was very present to the oasis expansion of omnipresent. And I said to her, okay, that's great that you have such a huge list of everywhere that you're not supported. The one thing I know is with this heartfelt expression of unsupported experiences and evidences that you've gathered, every time you have put anything in your treasure trove of how I'm unsupported, a rocket of desire has shot up, which is a rocket of desire that really lays out what it is that you do want, which is really knowing that you're making a difference and how supported you are. So I want you to just go away for 2 minutes, just for 2 minutes, just focus on making a list of everywhere that you know you are supported. And I said, here's a timer. It's switched on. 2 minutes. Your time bit starts now. At the end of 2 minutes, she was like standing tall. And she continued that work for the next 3 days. And then I said, well, where are your troubles now? And she said, I can't even recall where I felt I was not supported. Everywhere I look, any time frame I look, I've gone all the way back to when I was 5 years old, which is the last memory that I have of conscious awareness as a young child. All I see is people coming out of the woodworks, just supporting me. But it began with that pattern interrupt with the oasis and the potency of expansion that it presented to her. And lo and behold, support was omnipresent. And it was expansive. And it was potent. It made such an impression. I mean, I was connecting with her about a week later today, and we were doing the work on her autopilot. And it was like, she found it really hard to come up with situations. She had to like really look. Whereas when I first met her, all there was autopilot, left, right, and center. But it began with, I mean, the exciting thing for me when I look at things with, in this case, the omnipresence lens, I see the potency instantly. Something that had the power of significant influence and made a lasting impression because it was an action that she took, whose impact was larger than she could ever envision and more extensive than she could even have imagined. And that is what made it omnipresent, brought her in a state of immense gratitude that became widespread and constantly present. It's a beautiful pearl of wisdom. Great way to start the year of illumination. The second expansion is magnanimous. Magnanimous being generous, forgiving, especially towards maybe a less powerful person, especially towards a rival. The power of magnanimous, the expansive potency of magnanimous is huge. A knowingness of magnanimous that basically puts you in a state that wherever people are at, whatever they may do, if you adopt the position of magnanimous, it gives you this unique potency of expansion, where what it is that you stand for becomes omnipresent. So how cool is that? Whatever you stand for, whatever you're resolved about, becomes widespread and constantly present for people if you adopt the potency of the magnanimous expansion. So I am a stand for expecting and accepting miracles as the norm for humans and humanity. And knowing that people are people, whether they agree to it, whether they don't agree to it, there's nothing for me to do to justify why I have this stand. There's no requirement to spend any time going into that, because there's a knowingness that whatever happens, I'm just going to generously share the magic of that each person already possesses. It's not that I am the miracle. I am, yes, and so are you. And you are just as potent as I am. There is no difference. I have an understanding about this area, and you have an understanding about many other areas. Now, this is really interesting. This one is so interesting because what it does for me is, and I've noticed it, even though I didn't know I was engaging with omnipresence at the time, but I've had people question, my decisions and my choices, and I follow guidance. And I never used to, but I do now. I get the guidance, I act on it. I act on it with precision, knowing, and sometimes people say you're just being too generous to that lack of performance, and that it means that the project is being delayed or hampered. It allows me to be present to that point of view as much as it allows me to be completely present to the person who this conversation may be about. Because I know that in doing so, I am activating this expansion. And a potency of this expansion means the magnanimity of the person that is in question is going to come forth And it is going to expand. And that is necessary for me to be able to do what I'm here to do in terms of my soul mission. Otherwise, I would get sucked into the details of managing the nuances of content, of things going wrong, and I would be the one bringing things back on track. I just have to remain in this magnanimous expansion and be in observance at a meticulous nuance level, knowing that the person I'm dealing with, I only do it if my guidance is it is worthy of this level of engagement from me. You know, I do have a business, and that business is in a mode of expansion, and it can move very rapidly so, to such an extent that every member of that team is being like pulled up, stretched out beyond what they have ever done before. So all sorts of resistance comes up for people. And there are many who observe and give their points of view, and I observe as well. And it's not that I don't get upset or fed up with, when people, I see the potential and they are just, like letting it go or damaging themselves. Me saying this to them is not going to change a thing. So I just go into, okay, my guidance is to keep backing this person. Okay, omnipresence is the pearl of wisdom I step into. And I'm always connecting to, why am I doing this in the first place? So how does this person, whatever it is that they may be doing, wherever they may be stuck in their own thinking or in the way they're going about it, what is it that allows them to step up their game so that I can return to my soul mission? It's not that I did not pause my soul mission for a few weeks, but it only took a few weeks to turn around a couple of very significant poor performance situations in the business side. I always had the finger on the pulse of what my soul mission is. Now, whether you know your equivalent of expect and accept miracles as the norm, what you do know is you have the gift of life. And the gift of life is all about, its only purpose is to come alive. So aliveness is your purpose. Having that uninterrupted, frictionless flow of yumminess as you come alive is your journey. Whether you know how that journey is going to pan out, it doesn't matter. You can at least use that and work with each of these expansions. And sure enough, the turnaround occurred. It has occurred unequivocally. Like literally, I knew what was going to happen, but there was no point in me even sharing this with anyone when people are stuck in their own points of view. I just had to follow my guidance and stay with these expansions and a knowingness that magnanimous is how each person on this particular project is going to reveal themselves. The third one, the third expansion. The third expansion is marvelous, causing wonder and extraordinary. That is extraordinary, like really causing great wonder and presencing the extraordinary. That's the potent expansion that becomes available to you when you're working in this space of omnipresence. So let's look at, how do you actually activate the potency of the 7 expansions? By owning you, your truth, your gift, your innate vibe, what you stand for, by choosing that is what is going to be omnipresent. With every breath you take, with every step you take, the you-ness of you, is what is going to be omnipresent. Now, when you engage with marvelous, causing great wonder and something that's extraordinary, this is where I invite you to go into a lay of the land. Look at the lay of the land. Now, what is the lay of the land? The lay of the land is what defines your presence. What defines your presence? Yes, your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, your social connections, the environment that you're in, the environment that you present for yourself, your memories, your experiences, your choices, what you made them mean even, and how you react or respond. Now, with the omnipresence as the stance you have taken, and using this expansion, the potency of marvelous, and you're examining the lay of the land, where in my life, which aspect of my life have I caused something of great wonder? Where have I caused something extraordinary? When have I done this? How often? And this person that I talked about, I don't, nobody supports me. I have to do everything myself. The first time I asked her this question, she was like, I haven't caused anything. There's no great wonder that I've caused. Wonderful things have happened to me. This is after she did her list of how supported I am. She's like, wonderful things have happened to me. So many people have supported me all along. It's amazing. And I said, well, okay, what are you're a stand for the well-being of people. Where have you caused great wonder? It took her a moment to really start thinking about where have I been a cause for great wonder? Where have I caused the extraordinary to occur? She did, she got it. And that's how this gracious gratitude to how supported she is became omnipresent. So I'm asking you to look at where you have been the cause of great wonder, where you have been the cause of something extraordinary. And all you are to look at is what cumulatively forms your presence. The way you think, the way you show up, the kind of impact you have, the kind of choices you've made. There's just one lens through which I'm asking you to look at your life, the marvelous lens, as a potent expansiveness of omnipresence, of your presence. The magic that will show up here is a knowingness of how powerful you are, how many places, wherever you show up, you cause wonder. And your life as you know it is a cumulative blessing of the extraordinary. To me, when I did this exercise, it was like a completion of a yin and yang, And it was great to just meticulously only engage with Where have I been a cause of wonder? Where have I caused the extraordinary? And I went back to as early as 2 years of age. I didn't use any of my tuning in abilities. I'm sure I would have come up with various things that I also caused wonderment and the feeling of extraordinary, even when I was a fetus, but I didn't go there. I just made it very conscious awareness, looking through that. And it was wonderful, really. The fourth potency of expansion that becomes available to you is nimble, quick, light in movement or action, agile. So just imagine, there you are. You've taken a stand for aliveness, and you're using, that is what you're a stand for. Frictionless flow of yumminess as you come alive, and there you are, you've taken it on, and you are now really engaging with, moment by moment, what that experience of aliveness actually is. I mean, the state of being widespread and constantly present, it's a given, right? And when that is a given, this doorway to becoming larger and more extensive in your aliveness is also a given. And when that is a given, the potency of having the power of something, of influence, of making an impression, that also becomes a given. And when all of these become a given, nimble, quick and light in movement or an action and agile, well, it becomes a feature of coming alive. Now that's the theory of it. And what I would say to you is really look at where this has occurred for you in your life. Where has this occurred in your life? And the way to look at it is, rather than find where have I been nimble, find those moments in your life. There may be few, there may be many. Find those moments which look like they just came from nowhere. And you felt that lightness of being, you felt a momentum, and you felt that you were agile enough to grasp it and move forward. Find those moments. And then post-mortem them. Like really dissect them for what came about that made this occur. You can, if you only work with one, all I'm doing here is reawakening, rekindling actually, the cellular memory of nimble, being omnipresent. So the oasis expansion is there. There is always a refuge, a relief that provides a pleasant contrast, always, wherever you are. It's always available. The magnanimity of where that is your innate generosity, regardless of who the person is also omnipresent. You have it. And there are many, many times where you have acted this way. The marvel of you being the cause of great wonder and the extraordinary is also there, and the nimbleness, the quick and lightness of movement or action, which demonstrates your agility, is also present. So those things are there, and they have showed up at certain points where all the dots connected, and you caused something wonderful or extraordinary. Pick one of those and really dissect them. What led up to that? What is it that caused you to make the choices you did? What impact did they have? If there was a contrasting situation, What is it that you did to, recover from that? You're simply educating yourself. Now, it's no accident that it's number 88, which is omnipresent, eternal, eternity, infinitely flowing. And we are doing this in the year of illumination. Illumination being insights that are instructional. So you picking up these insights, just by the cellular memory becoming reconnected, you will establish your own set of instructions for how you are going to move forward. I mean, I found hidden gems in some of the craziest, actually most challenging situations in my life. The fact that I came through them. So I deliberately chose something which would be a negative milestone in my life. And I found so many hidden gems. It got me to realize that whatever occurs, it is so true. When something that we don't want to happen happens, at the same time, something magical is present. It's just a matter of us looking and finding it and acknowledging it. And the best part is you can do that anytime. Because vibrationally, everything exists. There is no time. Everything exists. Whatever has occurred in the past that you may have been consciously engaged in directly exists. Your soul already has come here for a reason. So what is to occur in the future, assuming your soul realizes its full expansive potential, also exists energetically. It's just a matter of your choices. By doing this exercise that I'm asking you to do, you really start dropping the I had to, I need to, I can't, okay, yeah, fine. It was all fine before, but this time around, these are the circumstances. I have to, I'm forced to be able to operate this way. No, there is nothing like that. If you've done it before, by reawakening those cellular memories, these dialogues automatically start getting neutralized. An omnipresence of you as the cause of wonderment and the extraordinary starts to become your reality. And that is what gives you that quick and light movement and agility of response in any situation. The fifth expansion that enriches the potency of omnipresence is immersive. This expansion is immersive, just like in the story. From nobody supports me, I have to do everything myself too. I can't think of anything but gratitude at how supported I am. It became immersive so fast. The woman doing black magic was still around. She started avoiding this person, but because her enlightened frequency shifted. She's going around, I'm not supported. All of these factors that control someone who desperately needs support and is bought into the dialogue of I'm not supported. Of course she was going to show up, or someone or something like that. And the moment she switched, The woman is still there. She herself started avoiding her. Because she got immersed in a knowingness. This journey from data to information to knowledge to wisdom to a knowingness happens very fast. That's why it's a potent expansion. It's important to understand immersive is characterized by deep absorption in something. So any one of these expansions that you may work with, you immediately go into a deep immersive state. Whatever it may be, so be it gratitude, be it miracles that's making a heart sing, whatever it is that you're examining in your life, use the omnipresence pearl of wisdom as a pearl of wisdom that anchors for you unequivocally how you have been a cause in wonderment and experiencing and spreading and sharing generously, causing the extraordinary to occur. It brings out your magnanimity. So regardless of how people are to you or with you, you continue to operate in your generosity. Reacting, retaliating, interrupts that frictionless flow of yumminess or to aliveness. And I'm actually, I have so many examples and stories that I would like to share from my life. And they'll be riveting. I'm choosing not to do that here. Instead, I'm sparking these thoughts. So even as I'm talking, you're starting to get some light bulbs switch on. Because if I shared a story at this point of mine, you will be riveted by that. And I want those light bulbs that are being switched on to be anchored within you. So you can go in and see how much aliveness is omnipresent in you and where you have been the cause in that matter. When I did this work, and especially this immersive one, I became so deeply absorbed in how many nuanced facets make up my choices that enable me to come alive. Like even choosing, like I've got a system I've created at home which creates living water. So I have got these wonderful stones in this 2-layered pot system where I've collected these from some amazing places. Mount Shasta, Shastite is in there. Some stuff that I've collected from the River Ganga is in there. So there are some beautiful stuff that is in there. I haven't put any crystals very deliberately. I might put a piece of shungite in it. But as the water is going through all of this, I'm just like, my God, even me being able to think that I should do this. I'm only here for 2 days in this place. Then I'm off for several weeks. But everything comes together so fast, so rapidly. There's something that happens when you are working with this omnipresence. It's as if that limitlessness of time becomes present, and each moment becomes one that's as if it just keeps giving and giving and giving. Literally, like the past and the future just disappears, and the infiniteness of each moment becomes alive. And when you are in this presence of infinity in anything, like this woman was, in gratitude for how supported she is, or I'm just in gratitude for the miraculousness in each moment. And I'm in this deep state of absorption in that. The extent to which I can generously show up is, there's no limit to that. The limitlessness really brings up the sixth expansion, which is philanthropic. It really brings out that philanthropic vibe, which further turns up the volume on generosity. And it isn't about, going out to save others, promoting their welfare because I want to save the world. It is more about switching on the light, illuminating for everyone in the world. Because they just have to look at what has gone on for themselves and see how much already exists, how much they've already done and caused that has made a difference to others. They become aware of the richness that already exists within them. You also become very aware of there are many, many resources that come together to give you your experience of living your life. Money being one of them. It isn't the driver. It isn't the be-all and end-all. It is simply one of them. This philanthropic vibe, it's a very different quality of generosity. I will do it as a nugget of wisdom at some point. The philanthropy part. But as a potent expansion of omnipresence, what you're seeing for yourself is this philanthropic vibe is omnipresent. And it's truly like a yin and yang. There are moments where you feel, okay, one day, someday in the future, I'm going to make a contribution to this cause. But actually, if you look back, and if it is a cause that truly touches your heart, if you were to look back at your life, you will find how many times you've already acted on it. And then you can start relating to yourself as the philanthropist who's already doing this. And then you don't have the inertia of changing your state. The first time inertia goes away. So here, I would say, examine, where have you been engaged in promoting the welfare of others with generosity? And how has that act resulted in some amazing good works occurring for yourself? And how has that empowered you and powered you to make an even bigger contribution and difference in the world? So this isn't about a charity, how many charities I've donated to. That may be a part of it, but this is not the examination I'm asking you to do. Whether it is charitable or not, we still make a difference and contribute to people's lives. I lived in Mumbai during the period of the lockdown, which really gave birth to all of these things that we are doing here. Because I would never have had the time to even have sessions on Pearls of Wisdom or many other things that we did during the lockdown period. And I had this amazing home help who would come in and serve me. And of course, during the lockdown, she was not able to come. And she was very conscious and aware that I didn't require certain things to be brought in from the outside. And then I had COVID right at the early part of, the COVID phenomenon. So she would send her son over. Now, at that point, people were, the police forces were not allowing people to be on the streets. So her son got beaten up many times. I had no idea that that had happened because he was bringing some food that she'd already cooked for me. It's really amazingly generous. So I'm like so present to the generosity of this woman. Just a few days ago, I get a message, and it's a message from her son. And it's his Instagram post. And it's actually an Instagram page of a business he's created. And that business came out because of the food that his mom was cooking and he was delivering to me. It came up from there, and I was being very cautious about what I was eating during the lockdown. So her repertoire expanded from being this queen that makes the most amazing biryanis to actually having a whole collection of things that were very rich in nourishment and nutrition. He got awakened to farm to table concepts because she was doing this, I would buy my produce from young kids who were working in call centers, who had gone back to their villages and taken charge of the land that their parents had and started really growing produce there and making that available to people. I just started getting them to deliver directly to her, So I was like, wow, he's connected these dots and created something which is a business in his own right. And I have, you may have noticed at some point, I have this, it's actually a work of art, which looks like wings of eagles. And it's there in my Dubai apartment. He's got that as his picture. And he said that, every time he looks at it, it inspires him to go back to what he was able to do. Anytime there are blocks that come in, he remembers how his scooty was, damaged by the police and how he had to make a run for it, but never let go of the food that he was bringing for me. And it's like, it keeps inspiring him. It's like, my goodness, who would have thought that this little burgeoning entrepreneur was being birthed? And the other piece that he was sharing was I'd given them a number of my miracle coasters. These are paintings that I've done that, deprogram water. So he's got that. He says, my mom uses that water, and I'm sure it has. I mean, like every little nuance and such generosity with which he was sharing what he had gotten and what it has enabled him to do. And I was so present to, she so wanted to do it. I had no idea that he was going through what he was going through. I only found out that he would be beaten up and all that long after the lockdowns were complete. I would never have allowed that to happen, ever. I didn't even ask her for it, but she just wanted to. And then I felt that it would be, at least it gives her purpose and meaning during a time where everybody was so, gripped by uncertainty. So I allowed that to occur. That was like a part of this whole, and I was promoting a welfare of that family, not realizing that it was actually forming a foundation for how this young boy was going to emerge. So just looking back and seeing where these things have occurred in your life, you will be so surprised. And don't rush. It's not about having a quantity in the lists that you make. It's really about depth. And it's literally limitless. We are always engaged in charity. It's not one day, someday in the future. It happens in a whole variety of ways. There was no money that I gave anyone other than whatever I paid for the produce. And look at the difference it made. And you can contribute to charitable causes. It's another amazing experience that comes to mind. I will share it perhaps in another Pearl of Wisdom. We only have 4 minutes left. Number seven. Potency of expansion is radiance. There is an iridance to the ability to radiate that exists when you work with this Pearl of Wisdom of Omnipresence. And this radiance basically is this happiness and beauty or good health that you can see. It's sort of like a light and a warmth that's emitting or reflected by something or someone. That occurs naturally when you are engaged in omnipresencing your aliveness. You automatically radiate happiness and beauty and good health. I totally remember this in my mother. She, for whatever reason, chose to have a number of illnesses. So from the age of 32, she was at the age of 32 when she had her first heart attack, and she was in and out of hospitals a lot. She's the one who would often say, when we would be cringing at the doctors poking needles to find a vein, we would be cringing in pain, and she would say, oh, it's only my arm, or it's only my foot. There was always this radiance on her face. We never saw a frown on her face. It's not that she didn't acknowledge the pain that she was in, she did. But there was still a presence of that inner happiness and beauty and good health, even though she might be in the intensive care unit. There was a wholeness to health and well-being that you got present to, because you could see it in her face. The only time this was not present is, which was the last time she went to hospital, where she opened her eyes and said, Mynoo, this was a tsunami attack. And she was expressionless. My point of bringing this up is that as you look at your life, your moments of aliveness, and you engage with the potency of expansion that became enabled in those moments, you will automatically be in a state of radiance, which in itself is expansive and is potently so. So your inner beauty shines through. You feel that inner knowingness of your own good health and well-being, and it becomes visible on your face. And you start emitting this light that is your radiance. Very powerful to anchor this in this year of illumination. Finding your own instructions as you work through each of these expansions. And having your state of aliveness be widespread and constantly present, becoming larger and more extensive, having the power of something that's highly influential, something that makes an impression. Work with this 88th Pearl of Wisdom, Omnipresence. Over to you, Catherine.
Mynoo, I was just thinking, which was my favorite, because I love them all and I want to try them all. You know, these exercises to recognize the potency of omnipresence in our own lives. I think it's so valuable to take the time to do that. And I love the 2-minute one that you said, just where I think it was the Oasis lens, where we could just take those 2 minutes to remember where we've been supported. I just love that one. And I love the marvelous lens and the yumminess of you. I love how you put that. And just acknowledging where we caused something to happen. But then there's the philanthropic lens where our generosity of spirit comes back to just empower us to make even bigger contributions. They're all amazing. So I can't wait to do this myself. I think you're all going to have fun doing it. And then we'll all be back together next Thursday for more Mynoo Maryel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you.